Did everyone else get kicked out?
Yeah, yeah. It we only have 30 minutes a Zoom session because we needed that recording function.
Oh, okay.
We'll switch to something, I guess, or I could upgrade to Zoom Pro.
Hmm.
All right, Caleb, you want to share your screen?
Screen sharing's disabled again.
Oh, my bad.
Zoom took a shit on me.
And no, it after 30 minutes it's going to end because I don't have the paid version. So, okay, try it again, Casey.
I was gonna say, Zoom like completely like froze on me.
No. Okay. All right. So, grab the top of your terminal and drag it up a little bit so we can see more of it. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. All right. And then mouse wheel up just a hair.
That's the top.
There should be more because there's this click in and that's okay. Just go to the other one, PowerShell.
For some reason, it is not wanting to let me scroll up.
Okay, sure. All right, so type in Python space print.py. There you go. So probably what happened, if I had to guess, is the first time you tried that Python print py, you didn't have the print file saved.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, and then the second time you forgot Python at the beginning. So from now on, as we're going through prints, if you press the up arrow down in the terminal and hit just do it one time so you get to Python print py. There you go. Hit enter. Now, so hitting the up arrow one time will rerun that command, the previous command, and that will save you a lot of typing later. Okay, so you're good. Who else has a issue with theirs?
I don't have, it says no file or directory.
You need to get on the mic so they can hear you too. Okay, Michael has one as well, which is the other issue.
I have error number 2, no such file or directory.
Okay, so share your screen, Michael. And this is the one I thought everybody would have. All right, make yours full screen if you don't mind. Okay, so now let's look at this. Again, we're going very slow through these error logs because this is how you start reading them. Okay, so let's read this. Okay, let's skip that first one. Michael realized what he did wrong. Let's go down there. Okay, so that last one says Python py, Python print py, C Python 38/Python.exe cannot open file print.py. There's no such file or directory. So now if you look at your pathing, Michael. So you see C user/C499 yada /documents/code. That's telling you where you're at. Now, in reality, you need to go a little bit deeper. So type in ls, enter. Okay, so ls is a command line. Well, Zach and Casey probably know this, but ls or dir gives you the printout of the directory that you're in currently. So you can see right now Michael's in documents/code, but really he needs to go down to PCC, right? So he needs to do CD down in the terminal, space. What do you think? To get down one more, you need to dig in one more layer. Not ls. ls is just a print statement. So you need to change directory to which directory? There you go. Yep, enter. Okay, so now you can see your path updated. So now there's code/PCC, right?
Mhm.
All right. Now type in ls again. All right, so your print.py is where currently? Where did you save that? Right there. It's right. It's underneath license. Right? So is that where you're going to move it? Okay, first save your Python program. So you can see there's a little, there you go. All right. And okay, so you're good. Just leave it there. Okay, so if you look, you can see print.py is in your current directory, right? If you look down in the terminal. So now try that Python program again. Remember what that is? There you go. Okay. Okay, Casey, Zach, are you guys getting print statements?
But ever since Zoom decided to like take a shit, everything's not working right.
Okay.
I'm getting print statement is the PSC :users/za.carpenter documents code Python test.
Okay. And it's
That's
failing?
what- Oh, well, I mean, it's not saying it's failing. It's just that's what's coming up.
Is it not
I know.
telling you wow
It
or
looks
whatever?
it looks like yours.
Okay. So you're seeing this underneath it.
I'm seeing that underneath it now. Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. What do we need to do to get you going, Casey?
I think I'm getting it figured out.
Okay. All right. Well, if it's okay, I'm going to move on because I think you've seen a lot of this stuff. That's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep. Okay. So the next feature we want to learn about Python that's going to help you immensely down the road is the pound sign. So what this does, the pound symbol in Python is the ability to put comments in the code that aren't actually ran. So we can put a pound sign here. We can say something like this, right? This course is whack. Now, if we run that, you can see it's not in our terminal printout. But if we did this, you can see already, oh crap, what's going on? So comments are put into code to like give yourself notes, like, okay, this program does, or this function does this specific thing, stuff like that. That's not obvious. So while we're going through and learning, we're going to use comments as actual notes, basically notes for the code on as we're learning. So let's go back to this. So this is a string print. Okay. All right. So wow, this is a string. Again, a string has quotation marks at the beginning and the end. Okay. Now, print can do a lot of different things, though the end result is always the same. It just spits it out. So okay, so we can do print a number, we can print a string, and you see both of these lines of code are active. They're doing something, and so we can see that's those two down there. Now, how a program works is it reads the file from top to bottom. So if you had 10 operations, 10 functions, whatever, it's going to do the first one, the one at the highest of the stack first, and then the next one and the next one, yada. Now, that's for anything. And we'll kind of get into that in a little bit when I say that's for anything. But for now, we can print a number. We can print a like math equation, basically. And so we can print a string, we can print a number, we can print two numbers combined. If we run that, 34. 23 plus 11 is 34. And we can do several different types of math equations. We can do 49 divided by 7. We could do print 20 times 10. And again, we can see them here. So we can see 200, 20 times 10, 49 divided by 7 is 7. 23 plus 11 is 23. Okay. So print this print guy here is a function. Now what a function is, I actually made a little infographic about it. Basically what a function is it's a machine where you give it inputs. Am I sharing my screen? Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so a function basically takes something, presses it through, pushes it through the machine. In this case, we're calling it the print machine, and then the print machine will spit out something else. So that something is what's inside of the parentheses. We see that there, right? So print, this is a string. That piece of work that needs to be processed through the print machine this is a string. This is a string, goes in, and the end result is a statement in your terminal saying this is a string. Now, okay, that's obvious. One thing comes in, something comes out. Cool. Okay, why are you showing me this? Well, because as these functions get more and more complex, you have to keep in mind that the function is still a machine. It's going to take different values that are passed in within those parentheses. It's going to process it, and it's going to give either you or the program some kind of return. This is probably one of the biggest concepts to take away this morning. Now, print itself is a function that's built into Python itself. So as we start going, we'll make our own functions that do our own custom machine jobs. But for now, print is somebody wrote print into Python's hard-coded stuff way back in the day, like in 1995 or whatever. And it's still here. Okay. So the other things we can do with print is we can do more than just numbers and strings. We can do blanks. So we can, I want to put that actually up here. I'm actually going to put that up here to show you what it does. So, boop. So you can see it printed a blank. So it didn't really print. It didn't really accept nothing. It accepted nothing, but then the print function in its code says, okay, at the end of this whole thing, I want to do a new line or a carriage return or an enter. So in reality, this is saying I'm passing nothing, and the output is that print statement with that new line attached to the end of it. So that's how you can get spaces. You can also print symbols. Okay, so a symbol, Python does not care if you make it a string, Python will interpret it literally as that. It will say, okay, Alex has 6 dashes here, and it'll absolutely accept it. So then there you go. Now we can't do that. So if you tried, okay, so we can see there's an error. A bracket was not closed, yada, yada, yada. See, okay, so real quick, you see that third line, end str equals /n. That's that new line thing I was telling you about, that it's always going to be added on to the end. Okay, but anyway, you can see, okay, this just isn't going to work. Now, what would happen if we actually ran this? It's going to error, and it will tell you, Python, VS Code will warn, be like, hey, bro, this isn't right. And then if you're like, don't tell me how to live my life, VS Code, and you still try to do it. I'm sorry, what was that, Casey?
That was funny.
Oh, I thought somebody had a question. Sorry. So,
I Googled. Sorry,
so
continue.
okay. So, Python, VS Code tries to warn you, and if you ignore it, it'll warn you here, and it'll warn you up here. So you see that word is red, print is red, and there's 2. You're getting like 3 different warnings, like, hey man, this something's not right in your project. But if you still ignore it, then you will get something like this. And this is much harder to interpret than what VS Code is telling you. So file, yada, 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 line 11. Okay, that's useful. Just tell me what line the problem is on. Print, parenthesis, dash parenthesis, invalid syntax. Okay, so you have to understand, you have to read between the lines down here. Okay, what does that mean? Well, basically, you're not passing the right thing to it. So make it a string. Yeah, it likes it. Like, okay, we're cool now. And other IDEs and stuff like that, and other parts of VS Code, it will give you recommendations on what to change it to, what you might have made a mistake on. It will kind of address that. Right now, that's not in this, the scope of this right now. Okay, so I kind of glossed over it, but the content that goes inside the parentheses is what's passed into that print machine, right? And they're actually called arguments or parameters. They're used interchangeably, but an argument is just a piece of data that's passed into that function machine to run it. Okay. Some functions, my bad. Some functions will take only one argument, so it'll only take one of these. This can be as long as it wants, but there can only be one of these in there. Other functions can accept 10, 20, 30, 40, 100, right? It all depends on what the function is expecting. If the function says you have to give me 3 and only 3 arguments, then you better have arg1, arg2, arg3. Don't type this in. This is not good. So if you pass that in arg1, arg2, arg3, it'll work. But if you typed in argument 1, argument 2, and ran it, it's going to crash like this. And so you have to mouse over and say, okay, this is expecting this, this, and this. Okay. So, and we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. Okay. So, in terms of that, print can accept multiple arguments. It can accept any number of args. So you'll see something called var args, which means variable arguments, which means you can put in 1, 10, 20, 30, 50, whatever you want. Print is a very unique function in such a way that it accepts any type of content as long as it's properly formatted. So it can accept a string, a number, a boolean, a complex number, an array, a list, yada 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 yada. It will accept any of those things, and it will accept any combination of them. So you can have one, or you can have 50 of them. And Python, the print Python's like, all right, cool, I'm going to process these. That is called a overloaded function. So an overloaded function is something that is a function that just does a whole bunch of stuff, like more than probably it should. So in older languages, you might have had a print statement. Don't type this. Print string. This is a string. And then a print int, which would be an integer, and a print float. And so each one of these functions, you had to know which function to pass your argument to. Okay, but Python and all the modern ones, they don't necessarily have that anymore. Okay, so print accepts. Go ahead and type this down. As many args. Print accepts as many args, again, arguments, values, as you want to pass to it. So let's pass like 3 things to it. So thing 1, to pass multiple arguments, you need to have a comma to separate them, just like you're making a list: bread, milk, and eggs. That's that's how you are in here. Let's say thing 2, thing 3. Okay. Now, if we run that, the very last line of code here, we can see thing 1, thing 2, thing 3. It took all 3 of those and printed them out as a statement. Now, you can see there's spaces here between thing 2 and thing 3. Everybody catch that? That's not here, right? You see that? There's no space after 2. There's a comma. These spaces don't matter at all. We do that, it's still there. There's still spaces. That's because if we look inside of here, look at that 3rd row, sep : string, none equals a space. So that's basically, in short, saying at the end of every argument, put a space before the next one starts. And then that next row, at the end of the whole thing, go to the next line. /n is next line. So that's how you kind of read these pop-ups like this. Okay, everybody kind of understanding that? You see that? Any questions there?
I can't get my hang on. I can't get my print statements to work. They keep saying invalid syntax.
Okay, save it up top. And then you need to go down here. And you need to change the right directory. So ls. You need a cd to pcc.
Oh, that's the same problem I gave again.
All right, ls again. Now try that Python print py. Okay. So yeah, please stop me. If you're running into something, stop me, because you need to practice putting these in and seeing the printouts, because right now it's very simple. Okay, wow, this is a string, 1, 2, 3, yada yada yada. Eventually we'll have hundreds of lines of code that if you just typed in and haven't done iterative typing, you'll be lost. It's not, I'm not pointing out or anything, Michael. I'm just saying that you need to make sure to bring it up. That's the only thing there. I'm happy to stop and work on it, because there is a position in like companies that is called like DevOps, or basically support for the programmers. They set up the environment, they set up all the structure, stuff like that. And that might be one of their jobs. Is one of the programmers says, "Yo, Alex, every time I try to run this compiler, it just crashes. What's going on?" And that DevOps, which is basically tech support for the programmers, amongst other things, will come over, take a look, and okay, we need to get you these packages, yada yada yada. So that is a job, and it's a good thing to keep going. Okay, so this is passing as many args as you want to it. So note, these are separate statements or strings. Okay. The next thing let's talk about. This is one way: multiple args, many args, whatever you want to call it, many values. If a function says you need to have 3 arguments, you better have 3 arguments. Even if one of the arguments isn't used and it still says you have to have it, then maybe you need to do like a blank or something like that. Okay, so let's talk about the other way. So stringing prints together. All right, so the other way you can do this is you can do right. So the other thing you can do is you can combine pieces together. So in this sense, this is called concatenation, which in short is to concatenate is to link things together in a chain or series. So basically what this does is when Python sees this plus is plus a plus string, it's going to see Python knows to smash it together. So the resultant will be this is a string. Okay. So let's see if let's see if my guess is right here. Let's go ahead and run it. Oh, yep. Okay. So Python literally smashed all those different values together. This is a string. Okay. What did I do wrong? Well, it's because we didn't put spaces in here. So now if we put spaces, there we go. That works. Now, why that happens is because Python is seeing that there's only one argument, and that argument is all this crap smashed together or concatenated or added one after added to the next, added the next, added the next. Instead of 3 different arguments, it's seeing only one argument. And as you remember, it does a space only between arguments. So we had to have 2 arguments for it to actually give the space. So you would need to add this together. Okay. Now, the cool thing is print is, like I said, an overloaded function. So you can use this tool in other ways. So you can say print, okay, I want to know what 2 plus 3 is, like we did up here. So that's actually saying take 2 and smash it to 9. And it knows, these are 2 integers. When we smash or concatenate 2 integers together, we're actually adding them. 11. Okay. And then the last thing we want to talk about is combine strings and numbers. So we do print 3 plus dollars. Does anybody know if that will work or not? What do you guys think? Yeah.
Put the quotations
Patients around dollars.
Yep. So that warning told you before you ever tried it, like, no, man, you're not doing something right. So $3. Now let's go ahead and put a space in front of that. Oh. The one thing I did do it on purpose, but is a good example, was there wasn't a warning because it wasn't actually a syntax error. There was actually a functional error when I tried to add a string and an integer together. It was trying to add dollars to 3, when in reality, that's not what we were trying to do. We were trying to get to say $3. So here we have to separate it by a comma. Oop. So now we can see $3. So that works. Okay, so I'm going to comment that out because it will error on us every time. Okay, any questions about print statements? Nothing? Okay.
I'm still typing.
Oh, you're still typing. Okay.
Can you hear me, Alex?
Yep.
I disappeared. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
You probably already covered it, but this is good practice for me for like multitasking and taking in additional input. Because while you were talking, I was typing everything, so I don't think I quite caught all your explanation. But on the one where it's print this plus is plus a string.
Yep.
Or plus string. Why did you space the is from the first set of parentheses and then do the same with the a and string?
Oh,
I don't think I caught that part.
Okay, sure. So if you look down here, if we did this,
That
Oh,
was
I'm
to
sorry.
space the, sorry, that was to
Yeah, go
space
for
the wording, correct?
Yep. So if you look up here, Zach, this print
Okay.
statement says thing 1, thing 2, thing 3, and as we see down here, it injects a space between the end of 1, beginning of thing 2, and so on and so on, right? You see that spacing down here.
Mhm.
That is built in to the print statement, saying that after the end of each argument, put a space. Now on this one, like Caleb said, we needed to put padding between the words because Python is seeing this as one argument. So this
Okay.
comma tells it it's different arguments. There's no commas here. So what it's seeing is take this string, this string, this string, this string, and add them all together, put them all into the same, make one master string, if you will, and then print that out. Now, if we didn't do that, we didn't have these spaces, it's literally going to smash together into this.
Okay. Got you. All right.
Yeah, good question. Thanks for asking. That was actually kind of a deep issue because we're already going into rules of functions. So
Because
that's a
I
good.
missed
that's
it the first time too. Because and then whenever I printed it, it was all mashed together. I was like, oh yeah, I had to go back and add the spaces.
So when a
Um,
space is within the quotation marks, it counts the space as a character?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Anything. So anything between the parentheses is considered a character, except for very, very special combinations. Like, let's go ahead and add this on to the end here. Okay. So, I don't remember all these off the top of my head, but so we can do all those. We can even have parentheses inside of quotation marks. That's fine. We can have single quotes. So if the double quotes, so this is like a math equation, right? You please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, right? You remember in math, if you had a parenthesis inside a parenthesis, it would handle the internal parenthesis first and then it'd move outwards. Same thing here. Well, except for the fact that these are considered strings, but later we'll see stuff within inside stuff. But all these values are just taken as just characters. Now the ones that aren't are like /n maybe, and I might be wrong there. Yeah. So we can see /n is taken as actually going to the new line test. We'll say new line. And then if we do /t, that's a tab. And so there's slash with something is the special characters. But anything else taken inside of there is taken quite literally as that character key. Ats, numbers, symbols, Japanese characters, whatever. And there's a whole bunch of these. I don't remember them all because you really don't use print in the real world like we're doing here. This is just a good way to get introduced to the stuff. You guys tracking on that?
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
Okay, cool. Casey, you got your stuff working?
There's something wrong with the computer right now. I might have to wipe my computer. Like I'm having the hardest time keeping the Visual Studio program from freezing. And like,
Okay,
it just keeps popping up saying it's not responding.
that's weird. If you want to later today, we can go over this stuff. But I think you've already been exposed to all this already.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so let's move on to variables. So let's make a new file.
You want to start into recording before we get kicked out?
Yeah, there's less than a minute. All right. Well, I'm gonna stop this and I'm gonna start back up here in just like 2 seconds, okay? See you guys on the other side.
Okay.